Okay, so here's the question. In the assessment, what you're going to be given is this stuff here, and you're going to be asked to write these constraints. So these ones here are your constraints. Okay. So the first constraint, 3c plus 3t is less than 120. Okay, look, let's just go. We can't write c's and t's in our graphing, so we're going to write x's and y's. So we're going to say let c, which is the number of chairs, be x, and let t, tables, be y. So furniture maker, it takes 3 hours to build and 2 hours to varnish. 3 hours to build, 4 hours to varnish. He's only got 120 building hours. Does that make sense? Yeah. So 3 hours per chair he builds, and the 3 hours per table he builds has to be less than or equal to 120. Maybe? Because this is like a building constraint. So x is the number of chairs. So if he builds one chair, 3 lots of 1, it's taken him 3 hours to do the building. So that is a building constraint. Can you see that?
So if he's built 3 chairs, it's taken
3 lots of 3, which is 9 hours. Okay.
And then same with the table.
Tables are the same.
Yeah.
But the amount of chairs and tables he builds, because they're 3 hours each, he can't build 100 chairs and 100 tables, because that would be 600 building hours, and that does not fit the constraint where he only has 120 hours to build.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So the second constraint there, for varnishing, he's got 140 hours for varnishing. Now a chair takes 2 hours to varnish, and a table 4 hours to varnish. That has to be less than or equal to 140. Can you see that? So there's our varnishing.
Yeah.
A couple of other constraints that are implied, but they're not actually said in there, is he can't build negative chairs, and he can't build negative tables. Only other thing I want to mention to you there is this is what we are trying to maximize this equation. Okay? We're trying to find the maximum profit we can. Happy? So what you're going to do, once you've got those constraints, you're going to open up Desmos. Desmos, you can start graphing. This is going to draw your graphs for you. Okay? So what are those constraints we had? Constraints were 3x plus 3y less than or equal to 120. So here, 3x plus 3y has to be less than or equal to 120. There's my graph so far. Okay. What's the next equation? Oh. Okay, so you go here. 2x plus 4y has to be less than or equal to 40. Those other two constraints. X cannot be 0 and y cannot be 0. There's my graph. The part I'm interested in is from here. It is the quadrilateral, so the four-sided shape that is made from those 4 points. Can you see that? From there to there and down? Yeah. But it's real hard to see that, eh? Yeah. So what we're going to do, that's a less than or equal to sign. I'm just going to make it a greater than or equal to sign. That's a less than or equal to sign. I'll make it a greater than sign. That's a greater than sign. I'm going to make it a less than sign. And the next one, that's a greater than sign, we're going to make it a less than sign. Oh, that's so much easier to see, eh?
Yeah.
Bang, those are the 4 coordinates that I marked before, eh? Okay,
So that's
the
A,
graph.
B, C, and D.
It's A, B, C, and D. Now all I want you to do is I want you to take a screenshot of that and put it into OneNote as well. I'll show you that shortly. Once we've got a graph, once we paste it into OneNote, all we need to do now is do this part. We need to basically maximize our profit. So we're trying to maximize our profit from the words that we were doing before. Okay, so we're going to substitute in these 1, 2, 3, 4 points. There might be 5 points, there might be 6 points, whatever. So down here, point A, we can call it 0, 0. Point B will be 0, 35. Point C will be 10, 30. And D will be 40, 0. It doesn't matter the order of those. Okay. And because we're trying to maximize the profit, remember the 60C was you only get $60 for every chair and $75 for every table. So because X was our chair before, we're going to go 60 times our X value, which is 0. We're going to go 75 times our Y value, which is 0, 0, 0 plus 0, which is 0. This one here is 60 times 0, which is 0. This one here is 75 times 35. 75 times 35, that's all. I can't do that in my head, so let's just get a calculator and do 75 times 35, that's 2625. This here, that one here is 2625. Our total, adding up those two numbers, is 2625. This one here, 60 times 10, which is 600. The next one, which is 75 times 30. Okay, I can't do 75 times 30 either, so 75 times 30, 2250. 2250. This is 600 plus 2250, which is equal to 2850. Happy? 40 times 60, I know is 2,400. 70 times 0 is 0, so it's going to be 2,000. Happy with that?
Yeah.
So where's it maximised? Where's the high? What's the highest profit? Which one? Is it this point, this point, this point, or this point? Point C. The profit will be maximised at point 10, 30, which is producing how many chairs? 10 chairs. 30 tables for a maximum profit of okay, so when we start these, what are we looking for?
What you want to maximize, like the profit for.
Okay, so you're trying to maximize or minimize?
Yep.
Okay, so what are you trying to do with this particular question? You're trying to maximize or minimize? Generally on the last few sentences.
Maximize profits.
So you're trying to maximize profit. How do you get the profit?
By doing the cheapest way, that's good.
No.
Or
Maximize profit is by $15 on a small print, $35 on a large print.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 15 small plus 35 large.
Yeah.
But we've said, well, actually, we don't want to use S's and L's.
Yeah.
So we say let S be
X. And
and
L
L
be
be
Y.
Y. So that would be profit is 15x.
Plus 35Y.
Happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay. The next question we've got to ask ourselves is, what are we constrained by? What are we constrained by in that particular
2 hours plus $20 to purchase,
2 hours to frame?
and 2 hours to frame, and a large one costs $25 and 5 hours to frame.
Yep, but that's not a constraint. They're going to form part of it. What are we constrained by? We are constrained by
The budget, and 60 hours spent on framing.
and framing. That's what I want you to be able to produce to me, like budget and framing.
Okay.
Budget is $400, so we need to. That needs to be less than or equal to $400. Though.
Yeah.
How do you get that $400? You get it by
So
20 x,
yeah,
and you get it by
25Y.
okay. How do you get the framing?
60. 2 hours. 2x. Would you use that? 2x plus.
Yep.
6x. 5x. 5y.
Less than or equal to 60.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was the key thing to help you with this? Is what are you constrained by? Do that, and that'll sort of help you set up those actual constraints.
Okay.
So we now need to do our graphing. There are our constraints.
So we need to place in that version.
Can you put in this one?
Yeah.
So we're going to say 20x plus 25y less than or equal to 400.
Yeah.
Okay, let's zoom out so we can see it. So, okay, cool. Now what do we do?
The next one.
Yep. Which was
22 x plus 5y.
2x plus 5y is less than or equal to.
And then you need to put in the. That's not right.
No,
Or-
it's not right. Not well. That so far that's right.
Yeah, but we need to add more.
Constraints,
Yeah,
because
more constraints.
you can't actually have x has to be greater than or equal to 0,
Yeah.
and so does.
Y.
But then that's shading in.
Yeah.
We don't want to shade in, do we?
No, I'll shade out.
Shade out. So we go back and just change that.
Change that.
So all you're doing is changing all of the direction of them. And now we've got our feasible region there, right?
Yeah.
We click on the line and we can identify those points. There is our feasible region.
Yeah.
Probably should just make it bigger. Okay, and that's what I want you to screenshot
Yeah.
to your PowerPoint. Oh, to your OneNote. So now we need to table the points. So what you're going to do is you're going to fill in a little table. Points there. Okay, so what are the points? 0, 0. So we put it. We call it A 0, 0. B is 0, 12. C, D. Now here is where we put how much this profit is for X.
Okay.
Profit for X was 15, and the profit for Y was 35. So that's 15X, that's 35Y, and this will be our profit. So that is 15 times 0
0.
0, isn't it?
Yeah.
15 times 0, well, that's 0.
Yeah.
15 times 10. 15 times 20 is... Is that 3? That should be 35. 35 wide. So that's
0.
That's 0. 35 times 12. Well, let's just open up a calculator and do 35 times 12, 420. 35 times 8, 280. 35 times 0 is 0. That's 420. That's 430. And that's 300. Just by adding along there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So where is our profit maximised?
The bottom of 300. I mean 430, sorry. Yeah.
The next step is to insert the profit function line. The profit function line, well, I mean, it might sound a little bit confusing, but we've just done it. We just found the profit was $430 via our table at the point 10.8 because the profit was 15x plus 35y. So what we're going to do in our Desmos is we're going to an extra line. 15x plus 35y equals our profit. That's right. And all we're going to do is add the slider. See, it says add slider at the bottom. Who's watching? Sean, you watching, marker? Add slider. So click this P. That's, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this 10 at the far side. What was my maximum profit again? 430. What was my minimum profit? 0. So just go up steps in 10. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is if I press play, hopefully, can you see that line's going out? And come back in. Can you see that? Now the maximum profit is the last point in our feasible region that line will go through. What is the last point that it goes through? This one here, eh? If I'm minimizing something, it's the last point that the line goes through in this direction now, which is minimized at the point 0, 0. Well, that makes sense, eh? If you don't produce anything, you're not going to get a profit. So all I want you guys to be able to do is go, well, oh, yep, bang. At this point down here, what was my profit again? That was point 20. It was 300, eh? And look at my p-value there. See, my p-value is 300. If I go over, at the point at the top, no, at 1 point less. It's not liking me at the moment. Alright, won't get me go to the next one. But what would the p-value be just there? $420, which matches up with this 420 here. So the profit is maximized at $430 because that's the last point that my graph goes through. Does that make sense? Yeah. If I can do that, I can take 2 screenshots of that with my profit line going through there and my profit line going through somewhere down there. That is a merit skill. You are showing that the gradient of your graph is going outwards. The last point in my feasible region is where its profit is maximized. Does that make sense? So that's what I'm going to do for my next step. That's my insert in the profit function line. So it might sound really complicated, but all they're doing is you're adding in that profit line. Any questions with that?